And the step 2 is the second F in this series, and that is to fast. Now, why does fasting work so well as part of a detox? See, a lot of people right now are doing the wrong things in this world of detox. They're running and they're buying all these detox kits with all these different supplements online, and they're going to do all these different, milk thistle or these other things that help flush the body. But they're not doing the core strategies. The fast is one of the most fundamental strategies you can implement to actually reset your body. Now, there are different strategies behind fasting. The one I recommend that you start with. Now, there are contraindications to fasting as well. If you're type 1 diabetic, obviously you've got to watch your sugars, and fasting may not be the best move for you without medical supervision. So get with your doctor before making that attempt if you have a medical condition where your blood sugars are not super stable. But if you don't, fasting works extremely well. And so what I like to see people make an attempt to do is the 24-hour fast. Now, the 24-hour fast is not the most powerful fast, but if you've never fasted before, it's going to be powerful enough for you to benefit from this strategy. You will get some cellular regeneration. You will get some autophagy that occurs, which is basically cells becoming renewed even within 24 hours. But the biggest thing is again, we're talking about strategies after over-consuming or after consuming food that potentially has been hurting you. What we're doing here is we're giving the GI tract a full 24 hours to rest, to take a vacation. Now, remember, your gut, the cells, the lining of your gut is brand new every 2 days. So we're giving the half of the time necessary for your GI lining to completely turn over. We're giving the rest for that. Now, some people say, well, I feel really good after a 24-hour fast. Can I keep going? And the answer to that is yes. I would say you could go up to 3 days. Now, my advice to you, if you get really beyond 2 days, you should probably be working with a medical practitioner, somebody who's experienced in this, who could guide you through any of the problems or pitfalls involved in a longer fast. But a 24-hour fast is very safe. And the average person can do this one very, very easy, and there are tremendous benefits. 48-hour fast is very safe. It's when you start getting longer into some of these longer fasts that you probably really want to work with a functional medicine practitioner to help guide you through the process and make sure that there are no other pre-existing medical conditions that might prevent you from having a good experience with this. But consider the 24-hour to 48-hour fast. So 24 to 48 is very safe. 3 days or more, you're going to consider working with a provider. Work with somebody. Now, some people will do an intermittent fasting strategy where they're more specifically, they're not going 24 hours without eating. They're just choosing to eat within a smaller window of period. So they may not fast a full 24 hours, but they'll fast 16 hours and then have an 8-hour window of eating. Or they'll fast 20 hours and have a 4-hour window of eating. Those are not going to be as effective if you're really trying to do a reset. We got to push it into that 24-hour and beyond if we're really trying to get a good detoxification reset. So my advice is, if you're thinking about doing this and you've never done it, start with the 24-hour. If you do really well with the 24-hour and you just don't want to go to the 2 to the 3 day fast, consider doing a 24-hour fast 1 to 2 times per week for several weeks. Now, you won't put yourself in any major danger of becoming too frail or too thin. A lot of people, you have to remember, a lot of people have the attitude that 3 square meals a day or 6 meals a day is super critical, super important. That if you deviate from that, you'll lose too much weight, or you'll become unhealthy, or you'll become malnourished. It's not going to happen with a few days of fasting, folks. Fasting, all the biggest thing that's going to happen with fasting is, if you're used to eating food all the time, is you might get some low blood sugar, you might get a headache, you might be uncomfortable, and your stomach might growl. But all those things you can kind of work your way through emotionally, and you can work your way through psychologically. But you can do this strategy again. Let's say you're starting off your new year and you don't want to do the full 3 days. You can fast 1 day this week and then choose another day next week to do a 24-hour fast, and choose another day the following week to do a 24-hour fast. So you can stack fasts over weeks accumulatively and still have a really great effect. Now, if you want to do longer than that or more than that, you've got to be real cognizant and real careful. And I'd recommend that you work with somebody when you get to those fasts beyond 3 days. Okay. Now, fasting, let's talk a little bit about what that means. Because some people, some of the questions that come in are, can I have liquids? Of course you can have liquids on a fast. We're talking about water fasting. We're talking about And some people want to know about like things like broth, like would broth work on a fast? If you're doing a true water fast, which is what I recommend if you're trying to do a reset to detox, then that means I don't recommend any fluids that have caloric value to them. So, that's where the next question will, some people say, well, what about tea? Can I drink green tea during a fast? Yes, you can. There's no caloric value to green tea. So you can add liquids that don't have caloric value, that are not going to stimulate the digestive processes to any great degree, because remember, the point of a fast is we're trying to tell the GI tract that it can take a vacation and heal and repair and begin the process of autophagy, where that cell lining can repair itself and regenerate appropriately. So we don't want to put food substrates on it that are going to make that GI tract work too aggressively. So liquids are primarily what you want to go with during a water fast, and particularly non-caloric. So if it has calories, if you're looking at the package and you're saying, I wonder if I could have this on a fast, the general rule of thumb to try to follow is if there's caloric value to it, then you're not fasting anymore. The fasting is now not considered to really be, not really going to be as effective for you in that long haul. So if you feel like you want to fast and you want to do something with liquids, but you're not quite sure whether fasting is right for you, and you want to do something like a bone broth fast where there are some calories, so it's more of a restricted calorie fast, you certainly can do that. There's no wrong way to do this, but if you're trying to get the reset, you really want the liquid fast that is non-caloric, so no calories would be kind of the general rule to try to follow if you're attempting this fast. So again, that's number 2. So we've got the flush, then we've got the fast, and then the third strategy. And again, I told you I'd be talking. Some of you are gluten-free veterans, and some of you are like novices or rookies or new to this whole thing. And so, strategy number 3 is that you can follow the protocol in No Grain, No Pain. No Grain, No Pain. If you're not familiar with it, this is my best-selling book, No Grain, No Pain. It's a 30-day diet protocol, and you stick to it. It's phase 1 and phase 2. The first 15 days are a little easier. The second 15 days are a little bit more restrictive in terms of diet. But following phase 1 and phase 2 through the No Grain, No Pain 30-day protocol works as a fantastic reset for your body to get you to a point where if you have chronic inflammation issues, you get to a point where a lot of that subsides. So now you can make meaningful decisions about how you move forward. If you don't have a copy of No Grain, No Pain, you can pick it up at any Barnes & Noble or Amazon or major bookseller, or you can go down, if you don't have the money, you can go down to your public library and get a copy. It's in most major libraries across the U.S. So, and it's published in a number of different languages. So those of you listening from across the pond, we've got a UK version, we've got a German, a Polish, a Turkish version, we've got a Chinese version. So if you're tuning in from other areas in the world, you can still get access to it in that way. But the No Grain, No Pain protocol will get your diet tightly dialed in, away from sugar, away from grains, and kind of help work that anti-inflammatory component that we're after for trying to get that reset. Again, what we're trying to do is reset your body and give it the opportunity to start to heal and repair as you move into the new year. Okay, number 4. Again, doesn't require a detoxification kit. It's sleep, but in particular, extra sleep. Most people have been told or have kind of the connotation that, 8 hours of sleep is ideal, inadequate. But when I say extra sleep, I mean more than 8 hours. So a lot of you neglect this component of your health. Most people I know say, oh, I'm only going to sleep 6 hours and I can still wake up and still get going. We're not talking about like being functional through life. We're talking about being healthy through life, right? And so sleep is very, very critical. Now, there are a couple of things to consider. Now, I'm suggesting here that if we're trying to really do a detox, that we're looking at 10 hours plus of sleep. So here, extra. So if we look at kind of baseline sleep is 8 hours, okay? Extra would be 10 hours. Now, some of you are maybe thinking, that's impossible. I have a job. I've got kids. I don't even get home till late at night. We really want to try to implement this, even if we're using the addition of naps. But what's more important even than the 8 or the 10 hours, if you can't get to the 10 hours, what's the most important is the timing of that sleep. So remember that between the hours of 10 p.m. and 2 p.m., or sorry, 2 a.m., not p.m., This is when healing happens. So this is kind of the circadian healing zone. So the most important aspect of sleep is that you're asleep, meaning you are asleep, not getting in bed at 10, but asleep, snoozing, snoring, whatever that looks like for you, by 10 p.m. And you're at least asleep through the hour of 2 a.m. This has been really well studied. A number of research studies have shown that our best restorative sleep occurs between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. So if you're going to bed at midnight or you're going to bed at 1, even if you're sleeping 8 hours, even if you're getting the 8 hours or the 10 hours, it's not as effective for healing and repair and restoration as being asleep between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. Remember, your brain detoxes. So this is a big, big part of detoxification, especially a lot of you out there that have the brain fog or the cognitive decline, or you can't think straight, or you can't remember words, or you have trouble recalling things. Your brain detoxifies during this time frame. And so if you're not sleeping adequately, your brain doesn't have an opportunity to cleanse itself. So very, very important time frame. My advice is minimum time frame 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. Combine that with a minimum of 8 hours, preferably 10 hours, because we're talking about detoxification reset. We're talking about extra sleep for extra repair. Remember, if you work out, whether you're chronically ill, or whether you're working out and you're healthy, the healing and the repairing occurs when you're asleep. It doesn't occur as a result of necessarily directly changing your diet, but it occurs when you're sleeping within that time frame. So sleep, again, it's one of the most ignored parts of the detoxification protocol. A lot of people think they can just swallow a bunch of pills and not get adequate sleep, and that those pills are somehow going to passively, magically cleanse their body and detoxify their body. But a lot of your detoxification occurs during this time frame while you're asleep. So you can't skimp out on the sleep component, because if you do, it's not going to be anywhere near as effective. Hey, and if you missed the earlier part of this series, click right here so you can go back and get caught up. The information there might be critical to helping you on your path to better health. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe for updates below. Have a great day.